Say hello. We'll also share these slides out with you afterwards, so don't worry about taking photos. We'll share these with you so you can go through them at your leisure. And for those of you who need to talk to help translanguage or help with discuss things in your own language, please do. You don't have to sit quietly while we're here today, but you can talk to help each other make sure that everyone can understand what's going on. Because unlike your very clever children, I can only speak English, so I apologise now. We'll get into it for today by introducing the teams, and so I'll pass it to the teachers to introduce their grade level teams.
Thank you very much. I'll take the speaker. I hope I won't break it. I usually break things. So welcome. I am Mr. Patrick in grade 3. I'm sure a lot of you have seen me from last year and know me. And I am partnered in my grade 3 team with the wonderful Miss Mayu, who is in the class now with the kids. So lovely to have you here this morning.
I'm passing it to grade 4.
Thank you, Mr. Paddy.
Okay. Sawadi Don Chow. Suksan Wan Pud. Chanchu Paddy. No, I had a challenge by Anita this morning to show off some Thai, so I've been practicing all morning. My name's Patty. I teach grade 4, and our educational assistant in our classroom is the wonderful Miss Nay, who is up there with the children right now.
Hi, good morning, Saudi Cap. Sorry about my picture. I am very happy to be here. I didn't know they were going to use that there. I'm in 4B, so working alongside Paddy in 4th grade, and Miss Snoot is my EA in class.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Miss Haley. Some of you know me, some of you may not, but welcome. Nice to see you.
Good morning. I'm Miss Hannah, and I'm teaching grade 5 with Miss Haley, and we are with Miss Bew.
Thank you, teachers. Also, at this point, I'd like to introduce or reintroduce you to Miss Andrea. Andrea is our PYP coordinator. So she is in charge of all things curriculum, and this is a really big year for us. As you know, we're a candidate school for PYP, and we have passed the next step of the process, and we have our authorisation visit in November. Do you want to explain to the parents just really quickly what happens at the authorisation visit?
Sure, absolutely. So the authorization is really showing that we have created all the documents, procedures, and the implementation of the primary years program in our first year of operation. So we've submitted everything, and then the team comes to visit. They will come look at the classrooms, speak to the teachers, go over all those documents just to make sure that we are following the standards and practices of the primary years program and the IB. They will have a chance to speak with some of our students, possibly some of you as parents, and then all of the members of the team as well, to make sure that we are fully implementing the primary years program as intended.
So some of you might get a call next month to say, hey, what are you doing at the start of November? And that's because we will be looking for some of you to come and meet with our visitors from the IB. Basically, they're coming just to check that we're doing everything that we're saying we are doing, which we know we are, so we're in good steps there. All right, we always start with our guiding statements and why we are here. And part of the reason I think that you all chose our school as an IB school is because you want your children to have the best opportunities and then take their learning and all the skills that they learn throughout school, their academic knowledge, or what they learn about themselves, and take it to do something better, to make the world a better place. And that's what's part of that IB mission statement and our mission statement as well. This year we will be really looking at how we can support the children in taking action with their learning. Okay, and that starts with them having voice, choice and ownership. So I know some grade 5s are already starting some petitions and essays of why they need class pets and things like that. But we want them to feel it's their school, and they've got no chance of that happening. But we want them to feel they have the opportunity to. But we want them to feel that they have choices. And you can see with the exhibition last year how some of them would get really passionate about something, whether it was waste in the dining hall or how we are using different materials in school. And they could see them petitioning and taking action, saying, this is what you should do. Maybe you got some feedback at home about how much plastic you were using. That's what we're really building to, is so that they feel empowered to do that. We want them to be inspiring individuals. Yeah. And at KIS, which is different from other schools, all IB schools have a similar mission and vision, but something different to our school is our core values. And we talked about this as parents last year. So I thought maybe we'd start with a test to see if you can remember what some of these different symbols mean. Some of the teachers might be a bit confused. No, they're all good. So I'll give you some clues. So we will scaffold your learning to help you. Who thinks they know what this one could be? Caring? So someone said caring here. I think I can see someone researching on their phone right now. So we have caring and building an inclusive community. Okay? That's something that we really want to make sure we do. What about, which one would be striving for understanding? Mm-hmm. I can hear, there's lots of risk takers suggesting ideas. So maybe some of our teachers can help us out. Striving for understanding.
Number 3.
Okay, thank you. Taking action ethically. This is something we'll be talking with the children more about this year. Be a risk taker. Yeah, that's right. And so that leaves us with nurturing passion in self and others. And that's where we have lots of opportunities through ECAs, through other elements of our program too, for children to do things that they're really interested in. Because if this is what we want to do in primary school, is try lots of different things to find out something that we're passionate about. Okay, we need to do more work on that before. So that gives you a little snapshot of learning so far in grades 3 to 5. And one thing I can see, and I think all the teachers would also say, is we have seen such a great start to the year. The children are happy and settled and straight into things, which is fantastic. And we know, and we've talked about this before, when children feel safe and happy, that's when they learn. So we can see that learning has kicked off well and truly so far this year. For those of you who haven't met Miss Jessica is our counsellor here in the primary school. She looks after our wellbeing framework or our wellbeing ecosystem.
Good morning. Just to take a quick moment to talk about the zones of regulation. This is the curriculum that we use for our social emotional learning in all grades, but really grades 1 through 5 are getting a lot of the really good information and starting to comprehend a lot more than our earlier students, but they do know a little bit. We use these 4 colors. The teachers have these on the back of their badges. Most parents don't, but we can get you a card if you'd like. we use these colors to describe different states of how we're feeling. And it helps for kids because maybe they're feeling particularly upset or particularly worried or sad, and they don't necessarily always have the words for that, but they can start to identify where they are on this card. So we use our blue zone for feelings that are kind of lower. So when you feel kind of heavier, so maybe sad or tired or bored. We use the green zone to kind of say it's a state of contentment or focus. So this is a good area for learning, right? So we like to see green in the classroom when we're really trying to focus. Yellow is for more excited feelings, sometimes more worried feelings. I'm feeling a little afraid or anxious, but I'm also feeling really excited or silly. That's really good for PE sometimes in the playground. And then the red zone is generally a state of feeling kind of out of control. And that might be out of control with excitement, like my favorite team just won the World Cup, or it could be out of control, feeling really scared or feeling really sad or angry, right? So we use these states so that kids can express themselves, and we kind of use it as a common language. We will have parent workshops on this. So I think the first parent workshop is in November, and then the next will be in the new term to talk about where we're at with what we're learning in our zone's curriculum. We also have curriculum on safeguarding, so we'll have a safeguarding parent workshop in September, and that's where we'll go over actually really good information for you as parents about specifics in Thailand, what we've seen in terms of trends and ways of protecting your kids, both from some of the specific things that are happening in Thailand and also online. And then we will also do an anti-bullying curriculum in October. We'll do the PANTS curriculum that many of you are familiar with in January. So we're really working to be able to offer a lot of curriculums to your kids, and we want you to be familiar with it so you have that same language at home.
Just sticking with safeguarding, one thing that we really ask for your support on is making sure we're keeping our children safe in terms of what images are going online. I know it's great when you see your child playing on the playground with other children, but please make sure that if you're taking a photo or filming, you're only taking it of your child. Okay, and if you see other parents who might not know that or have forgotten, if you could please help and say, oh, hang on, we don't do that here at school, and that's to ensure that we're keeping all our children safe. So if you can help us in building that understanding with other families, we'd appreciate it. All right, I'm going to hand over to each grade level team now to give you like the sneak preview of the year ahead when it comes to curriculum.
Thank you, Miss Anita. So this is third grade. The curriculum itself is, I just pulled down my trousers. My socks are blue socks. So the curriculum is expansive, as in it starts from the self, to look at yourself and how you contribute or take part in your own community. So the first one is understanding strategies to prevent and resolve conflict. And oftentimes, at the beginning of a year, you'll have little incidents, although I can happily say that this year there haven't been many at all. And it expands out so that the child is looking beyond the self, beyond themselves, to look at the community around them, their family, and the world around them, to the end where we're organizing systems to monitor and predict the weather. So it's very science-based. We do social studies and science within these 6 transdisciplinary themes. Transdisciplinary means basically that the concept, the specified concept, or the area of learning transcends, or it's not just a subject-specific thing that your child is learning, but they can use, for example, the idea of change. They can use that idea and then they can relate that and they go, so in English we're writing about how something changes and we're reading about change in weather or climate. So it's embedded in their mind so that when they go from grade 3 to grade 4 and grade 5, that they'll have this conceptual understanding and they'll be able to learn faster, make connections, and it will be embedded in them as lifelong learners, how they see the world around them and how they can make connections between different disciplines or subjects across the curriculum. And it's a very powerful way to learn for me as well. That's the way I think about the world, and I try to pass that on to the children under my care. So we have 6 units, transdisciplinary units, and these units last 6 weeks, as in all grades. We have big ideas in maths are up here as well. I'm not going to go through them. Basically, we have a very good scope or coverage of the Common Core curriculum in maths, and it gives them a wide spectrum of different areas in maths, and it builds on year by year. So in grade 2, they were doing similar things, and we build on that. So the child can see the progression, and they can make connections again from their previous or prior learning to what they're learning now and what they're going to be learning in the future. And integrated literacy is really important. So all of our writing and our reading and our speaking and our listening are integrated into the themes that we see up at the top in blue here. So for example, in this unit, we are looking at read-alouds, and they are responding to a read-aloud with a conflict situation in it. And then that's then going to be used to as a springboard for them to write about a conflict from their perspective, starting with the self, so that they have an innate understanding themselves. They can grasp that idea from their perspective or point of view. And it's really important when teaching kids that you have to look at it from what do they understand already? What's their perspective of what they're learning? Do they get it? Do they find meaning in it? So, and here's the integrated literacy, and it's worked really well so far. And I will pass this on to grade 4, and thank you very much.
You okay?
So I can't really follow on from Patrick. He's explained everything there. I'll just go through our 6 units in grade 4. So we're starting with a how we express ourselves unit. Every grade, like Patrick said, there's 6 units, 6 weeks each, and there will be a how we express ourselves, a sharing the planet, how we organize ourselves, and they're the transdisciplinary themes. With our 6 units here, the first one in grade 4, we're looking at communication. That's the main idea of it, and how we can communicate stories through different mediums. So the children will not only get the opportunity to practice writing, reading skills through that unit, but a lot to do with presenting and those skills, standing in front of the class, using different digital media, but also using media like traditional media, writing, mime, acting. So a lot of expression. How we express ourselves is strongly connected to the arts. So every year there is a unit that's strongly connected to the arts, and that would be how we express ourselves. The science units we have are how the world works, and that's like natural phenomena. So Paddy was here last year, so that unit was more to do with like weather patterns or natural,
rock formations and
sorry.
I can't remember, to be honest. Sorry? Natural disasters. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry, I can't remember, but I do know that the 6 transdisciplinary themes. Patrick's doing them in grade 3. We're doing them in grade 4. Hayley and Hannah are doing them in grade 5, and they each have a different focus. So a lot of ours are basically more connected to social studies, but we do have some science ones as well. Later in the year, our body systems and then the natural phenomena one, which was natural disasters. Thank you so much. Same thing, the maths is all scoped and sequenced. I'm going to talk a little bit about the maths. A big thing is that the literacy is integrated into the inquiry. There are some things that stand alone, but generally we do everything we can to make it connected to our inquiry. That's basically it, isn't it? Do you want to add some more?
Just to give an example, so for example, the literacy, we'd look at like the writing, like narrative opinion. So this unit here really works well with narrative writing, storytelling, expressing yourself, expressing things about your culture, your identity. Whereas a unit like the business unit there, being an entrepreneur, really would connect well with opinion writing or advertising, or how would you try and market something. So then they can see how important writing is and how it connects to the units. And there's real purpose in what they're doing. And if you see purpose in what you're doing, if you see the why, then that's very motivating. You know, you say, okay, this is why we're doing it. If that makes sense.
Authentic as
Yeah,
as we
yeah.
can, because their life experience is narrow, so we're trying to connect their learning to their lives and make it authentic.
Hi again, I'm Hannah. Can you hear me way in the back? Okay, great. So in grade 5, like all of the other PYP or primary grades, we do have 6 units. And throughout our units, we are reflecting, setting goals, and showing compassion to ourselves and others. So really, we're driving not towards what the curriculum says, but what the students are interested in. Super, super important to what they're learning and how they grow, which is why these 6 units that you see over and over again repeat, so that the students can have a strength in what they are learning and how to research, communicate, be creative within those units, which brings us to exhibition in grade 5.
Okay, for the parents who know about exhibition, it's a really special unit that we get only in grade 5, so the other grades do not have it. And you'll see this year it will be unit 5. We're not leaving it till last, but we wanted to give our students last year more time to develop the skills and disposition, the way of thinking that we were looking for. But that will be unit 5. And the other teachers talked about each unit being 6 weeks. Our first unit is 5 because we want more time in the exhibition to really go deeper with our learning. Students guide that, so they generate their questions, they choose an issue or a passion that they want to investigate. And so with our kids being quite new to IB, it's a bit trickier, but we're already seeing like the transition for this year, the ways that they are thinking, the ways that they are working together, collaborating, is really exciting. It makes me feel like as we continue to build, those students are going to come up with a lot more of that, the attributes that we're looking for within that. And then, do you want to talk about any of it? Yeah? Okay.
So in maths and literacy, we are following the same sorts of standards as the earlier years. In maths, one of the key points of 5th grade is that we're taking all of that work that they've done with place value, all of that work that they've done with how you can change a number, and they're taking that information, they're starting to not only create with maths, which is very exciting, but they're also starting to pull things apart and look at them across multiple perspectives. It's awesome work.
I think we have the next one about literacy. So I don't know if we need to kind of go through this, but like the other grades, we're looking for opportunities to make authentic connections between what we're reading and writing about, exposing them to different types of genres and text types, depending what you call it. And like right now, we're learning about government in grade 5. So we're looking through Read Aloud, like a picture book about Grace for President, to introduce democracy, to expose them to different types, and then give them opportunity to research and go deeper. So with our literacy, we try to embed that wherever we can. Me? You? I don't know. Okay, so again with our language, we do it through powerful read aloud. We use that to build vocabulary. We use it to provoke thinking for us as teachers to model our think alouds, our ways of thinking, what connections can we make. Yeah, so we do that, a lot of read alouds, a lot of research. We then write to show our understanding. So are we able to convey the big ideas? Did we understand what we were reading? Are we able to develop summarizing skills, or are we just copying directly from the text or from the website? So definitely in grade 5, we're looking for them to kind of be more academically honest about the information they gather and try to make sense of it in their own way.
And so we know that with AI, literacy is changing, and what we are expecting students to do is becoming different. So one of the questions that my students asked, our students asked yesterday actually, was like, how are we working with AI in terms of our writing and in terms of our reading? And that's where IB is kind of shining, because asking questions and being able to talk as a person about your understanding of the questions you ask is really, really essential to where I think the world is probably going now with AI. And so in all of this work, it's the questions the students are asking that really, I think, matter the most. Really great work with listening and speaking. We do a lot of visual presentations as sort of a scaffold, but lots and lots of turn and talks and engagement with others. We're really building them up to that presentation at the end of the year, and well, not the end. Yeah, Unit 5 for exhibition. I think, we haven't heard any questions. Did you have any? You've got this much time. Okay.
I just wanted to quickly add that we do have this portion of our inquiring into language, which is learning about reading. Now, often in our upper grades, we're more applying those skills, but of course there is still room and need to make sure that we're learning those foundational reading skills as well. So while there may be lots of that more complex thinking, there also may be understanding a different type of a sentence or a new pattern in the way that you spell a word. And so that part is integrated into all the other pieces of literacy, or sometimes just on its own if there's an important skill that a child needs to learn.
Thanks very much. Okay, mathematics. We all use a main resource called Illustrative Maths. It's linked specifically to the American Aero standards. We have the strands across grades 3 to 5 that we inquire to. So that's across the grades, and it's specifically scoped and sequenced. So I quite love that resource because it helps me stay on track. Now I can use other resources to supplement the curriculum and help me teach, but it's got everything I need there. But I took notes from listening to Miss Andrea speak about this, so I'm going to try and copy Miss Andrea. She said that through learning about the different strands, one of the big things that we're trying to do is think about how we approach our thinking and our dispositions as mathematics. So our thinking and our behaviour as mathematicians. Sorry, not mathematics. We're trying to give the children, let the children understand that mistakes are good, mistakes are opportunities to learn, and that we have a growth mindset. To try everything, and if I don't understand it, it's okay. I don't understand it yet, but I will, and I can inquire, I can talk, use my friends, my classmates, my teacher, my EA, everybody around me as a resource to help me with my learning and grow. Miss Andrea said that we want to talk about solving problems in an authentic context. We talked about that when we were talking about our uni of inquiry, to try and make things come back to the children's real life context. One of the big things that we're talking about, maths, is that maths is really a creative a creative area, subject, and people think it's cut and dried and it's one way to solve a problem and it's right or it's wrong. But it's actually really creative, and there's lots of ways that we can approach a problem or solve a problem. There's not just one way. So one of the big things about the way we teach mathematics is we're asking the children to show the way they're thinking, show the way they're solving their problems, and solve it in multiple ways, not just one way. So one of the quotes that I use in my class is, I convince myself and then I convince a skeptic. So once I understand and I've solved the problem, I can then talk to another person in my class and try and convince them. And then they might share, well, actually, I've solved it in a different way. And then we can learn, and we're building up our banks of strategies to solve problems. The only other thing I wanted to add to it was problems. It's really focused on solving problems. We want to think conceptually, just the way that Patrick and the others teachers were talking about in units of inquiry. We're trying to think conceptually. We're trying to think conceptually in maths. It's conceptually driven, and it's inquiry based. We're looking at having a shared vocab. So all the teachers come from different parts of the world, and we have different language. So we want to have a shared vocab that everyone in the school from EY up to grade 5 understands what we're talking about and has a shared vocabulary. And that's really strong through illustrative maths. And it's all about working on our mathematical practices and gaining knowledge and sharing that knowledge. Do you think I need to add anything else? Thank you.
All right. The specialist teachers, for those of you who are returning this year, it's the same specialist teachers your child had last year. So for the upper school, we have Crew B and Crew D for Thai, and Miss Serena for Mandarin. And then our single subject teachers, Mr. Sean for art, Mr. Jordan is our librarian across the 2 libraries, Miss Ellie, who's here as a parent this morning, for music, and of course PE and swimming with Mr. Ben. We also have our student success team. Mr. Ethan and Miss Andrea both support in different grade levels for children who are learning English as an additional language and need that extra scaffolding and support. Mr. James is our learning support teacher, so he will push into different classes or pull out different groups of children who, if they have a need. And that could be that they need support because to build foundational skills, or that they need extension from there. And of course, you've met Miss Jessica, our counsellor.
Back over to me. So this is traditionally we call it homework, but it's more like home learning. And we try to emphasize that with the students as well, because it's not about you're going to do extra work. When I was a kid, I didn't like homework. My mum had to take me in from outside when I was out running about the neighbourhood, playing football, doing all sorts of mischief, to do my homework. So I always saw it as work. So it's home learning. And that means that it's an extension of what we do in the classroom. So by looking at the home learning that goes home every Monday, you can look at the activities and ask your child about what they're doing in the classroom, because it reflects exactly what they're learning at school. And we call that the flipped classroom, where you do an activity at home, and then you flip it around and do it, then finish it at school or build on it at school. And we practice that in all grades. So, and supporting learning at home from a parent's perspective, reading is very important. We have a very good song, I'm sure you've heard of it. A fantastic song led by our own Mr. Paddy on guitar. And Wolves. I sang it. I sang it loudly and proudly, and it was in my head after I sang it for the whole weekend. even though I was listening to different music. And I said it on Monday morning to Mr. Paddy. I said, that song's been in my head all weekend, Mr. Paddy. What do I do? And then he sang it again to me. So it was in all week. Wolves read every day. In grade 3, they read for 20 minutes. And it's cumulative, so it goes up to maybe 30 minutes. And we'll go on the next slide, go on about that and show you exactly what they do. It's really important as well to build your home language. So read books in your home language, because your home language supports new language acquisition. So like this time last year when you were here, I think we were at the opposite side of the room. And it really helped to use your home language as, again, go back to that word, as a springboard to learning new language. And as parents, you'll realize that yourselves. I'm sure you're maybe outside school, your kids are amazing. They learn 2, 3, maybe 4 languages. So why do we have home learning? The big why. It reinforces, again, the concepts and the learning at school. It helps to, when you practice a skill, it helps to reinforce it, but also to consolidate it so you will always have that skill. You can always go back 6 months down the road and use that skill and apply it in your own situation. It helps build self-management. And this is a big one, the biggie. At the start of the year, self-management and time management and organizational skills. Sometimes over the summer, like I was this kid, I would be very sporty, I'd be running about, I'd be in scouts and whatnot, and maybe I lost some of my organizational and time management skills. And maybe as parents, you see that yourselves as well. This helps. 20 minutes reading a night, and in grade 3, it's 20 minutes of home learning, an activity to do with literacy, math, unit of inquiry, or maybe about a learner profile or a specified concept. And also, it fosters a lifelong love for reading. And once you have a lifelong love for reading and for literacy, you can apply that, the skills that you have gained, the knowledge and skills you've gained in reading and writing, to other areas of your life, to other interests and facets. And you can explore the world around you in a meaningful way because you actually have the skills and the access points to do that. So home learning fosters all this and helps children to achieve, to succeed. And okay, here we are. Here's the grid I was talking about. So cumulative early years, 20 minutes. They don't do any learning time writing because they're in early years. Play is always good. Grade 1, 2, and 3, 20 minutes of reading every night. Now that can be in your home language. Maybe you can read in your home language and in English. That's even better. And then here's the grid for 10 minutes, 15. So it goes up with the grades until in grade 5 it's 1 hour in total, 30 minutes and 30 minutes. So it goes up. If you have any questions or concerns at any time about home learning, you can reach out to, we're all really friendly teachers, we're really open, really responsive, and we are there to clarify or to guide you in any questions or anything you have with your home learning. Oh, and there's an example home learning grid. Shall we? I think that you guys, you've seen this, the home learning grid? Yeah? Awesome. What a great audience. This is over to, yeah, there we go.
Okay, and I just want to add to what Mr. Patrick was saying about that read aloud. Because that daily reading at home in any language, either your child reading, you reading to them reading to you, you taking turns on that page, it's so important. I'm going to read the quote to you. Ready? Reading aloud is one of the most important things parents and teachers can do with children. Reading aloud builds many important foundational skills, introduces vocabulary, provides a model of fluent, expressive reading, and helps children recognize what reading for pleasure is all about. In that moment, you're also teaching them about the world. you're building connection. There's so many good things that come from that, that research shows that not just reading success, but success in life can be influenced by that daily reading together.
So Seesaw, as you're probably familiar with Seesaw, and it's used here as a point of communication between teachers and parents. And the big thing that Seesaw is used for, though, is for the kids to showcase their learning. Going back to previous schools, so going back 8-9 years ago, I remember when one of my previous schools brought in Seesaw for the first time. And it took a little bit of time for the parents to be on board and for me as a teacher to be on board with it. But it really was a game changer in terms of allowing the students to showcase what they were doing in the classroom. And I think that's so important. It's so important. When I look back when I was a kid and my mum might ask me, what did you do at school today? And I'd be like, it was just school. I wouldn't really talk about it. Whereas if she had Seesaw, she could really see and then ask a question like, oh, I saw you were learning about, you were writing persuasive essays, or you were learning about, in maths, you were learning about area, and I saw you were making rectangles, or you're making different shapes. And that then would have been, would allow you to then actually go and explain what you're doing. And that's where learning is really embedded. It's when you're revisiting what you've done already, and then you're going through it again. And I think that's where parents have a really big role to play. Speaking to their children about school, or checking in Seesaw and seeing what they're doing. From a teacher's perspective as well, I think it really showcases some of the great things that we do in the classroom, or the kids, some of the great work they do, but in the previously we had portfolios, or we'd have like conference days, but that was just a snippet, and it's very hard to see in a portfolio all of the great things that are going on, or all the learning that's building upon, from week to week. So I'm really glad to join here, and having worked at different schools that all had Seesaw, but some of them didn't use it that much, and joining KIS and seeing that Seesaw is very important here, and it is our main point of communication between teachers, parents, but also your children to showcase their work. And to ask your child about, so just a picture says so much, and also what they're doing, but the descriptions here of what, so Ellie, do you want
Sure, I'd like you to see what that is. Yes, last year we did a great activity in grade 4 to build upon their knowledge of instrument families, and so they had to research 2 instruments from each of the 4 instrument families found in the orchestra. And then they made these fortune tellers. Some of you may have seen them if they came home. And I just used that as an opportunity for the students to test their parents' knowledge. So I think the last thing says, have they tested your knowledge yet? So it's a great way to interact with your students and their learning.
Yeah, really sorry to put you on the spot. But I think just like Ellie's comment there, explaining what they're actually doing is really helpful for the parents, because I've had parents in conferences and they're like, now I understand kind of how the PYP works. So now I understand why you were doing that. Whereas before, I didn't really know what the purpose was. So having these descriptions and having that engagement with parents. One thing I'll add is, please don't be shy to comment. I think it really builds community. And just from my experience, I've seen kids, and sometimes they would have a few minutes and they're like, can we go on our Seesaw page, or can we look? And it means a lot when a parent comments. And they may not say that to you at home, but I've seen it in the classroom. You can see it's very motivating. And they're like, oh, Mom or Dad's commented, or they've noticed my work. And yeah, they may feign shyness about it, but I can see it means a lot when someone shows interest in what you're doing. So, sorry, it's Andrea, yeah,
I just put some examples here. These are individual student posts. So your child may post a writing reflection, or something they're solving in math, or something they're learning about. And I just put some examples. Of course, we could go on and say, great job. And that feels nice too. And that maybe is what that little like button is for. Feel free to hit the like button. But
Smash the like.
but I just gave you some examples here of how you could give something even a little bit more specific that you like. Maybe, sure, I know it's really small. So this child, well, this writing is in Thai. I can't actually read that. But I might write, wow, you were really thinking about your next steps as a writer. I love that you are reflecting and thinking about how to improve. And then here, this child is learning about Marie Curie. I said, I can tell you did a lot of research to find out about Marie Curie. I really like how you made the connection to your own perseverance in math. So just finding something to really lift up. I'm not going to write as a parent like, you spelled this word wrong, because that might not feel really nice. And I know that child is probably reflecting about that and talking about that with their teacher, but finding something to lift up that you might be impressed about. And then you can talk about that at home as well, to go back to that partnership and those conversations at home that help to solidify that learning.
Apparently the grade 3 like button is not working. Yeah. I think it happened in grade 2 last year. Well, I don't know, it was smash the like. Halfway through the year, Mr. Ben just came up to me and said, why did nobody ever like my support video? It's actually because there's no like button. He was really worried. He thought we all hated him.
No, and I know definitely for the teachers that they're looking at seeing at how parents are interacting with Seesaw as well. So it gives them an idea of how useful things are as well. Camps. So this year we are doing 2 different camps. Grade 3 is having a sleepover camp like we did, similar to last year, where they'll be staying in the boarding village and they'll have a number of day trips off campus that are related to services action and exploring part of the local habitat, local about an hour away. So the cost of that is still to be determined. I'll have the costings for both camps to all parents from grade 3 to 5 next month. We've got those booked in, so that will be happening here. The focus for the grade 3 camp is Thai culture, community service, teamwork and building independence. For some children in grade 3, it's their first time not staying with mum and dad, or grandma and aunties, so that's a bit of a moment. But it's also when they have to organise all their belongings. You send them off with their bag and we say, please help them, let them pack their bag at home first, because then when they get there, they're unpacking, and no matter how many times you say it, you walk into the room an hour later and someone's underpants are on one side of the room and their shoes are on the other side of the room. So it's another way we're building organisational skills. So that, again, that's only with KIS staff for that camp, but that will be a great, exciting time. Grades 4 and 5. We are heading off site, so they will be going to the I camp, and this is a camp that Mr. Ben and Mr. Paddy have been to before, so we know this camp well. They will be focusing on survival skills. They will be building shelters and fires. They will be paddleboarding, hiking, doing all the good things. It's a great camp. It's a camp KIS has used for a number of years. Mr. Paddy, you thoroughly enjoyed it when you went. Fantastic. Really great camp. So again, that's a 3-day camp. Both camps are at the same time, so grade 3 to 5 will be off-site at the same time. See some of these. Yes, yeah. So I know you might be worried or a bit sad sending them off, but the teachers will send you photos through Seesaw, and then I'm sure you can send us photos of you out painting the town, having a great time. So costs for camp will come to you next month. Just before we wrap up, we've got lots of KISPA people here today, but by being a parent at our school, you are automatically part of KISPA, which is our Parents Association. If you haven't joined their line group, please join it here, so you know different things that are going on. They organise lots and lots of great things for families to connect throughout the year. Huge supporters. And the first event is later this month over at the clubhouse. So we hope you're able to come. KISPA presidents in our midst.
Acting.
2 of them.
Sorry, I just wanted to add, acting presidents at the moment. We will be having a proper election.
Is it a comedy, a drama?
Tragedy. So we will be having our first official meeting next week, where we will be holding a proper election for all the different roles where there's more than one person interested. We did originally say it was going to be Monday. We're changing that because there's an EY meeting, and after a democratic vote, we're now going to have it on Wednesday morning. There's nothing on Wednesday morning, is there? Okay, good. We're planning on Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. So we will send out more communications, but if anybody's not on the communications or didn't see it, if anybody wants to get involved with the KISPA committee and help us organise all these great events, please come along next Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. And join the fun.
Thank you.
So we know that the more you are involved as a parent with your child's education, that's all aspects, whether it's being part of KISPA or coming in and sharing a story in your home language in a unit, or coming along to sports days, coaching a team. The more you are involved, the children value what they're doing because they see your involvement in that. So please, any way you want to be involved, talk to KISPA, talk to us, and we can support that. All right, and one last plug and then questions.
So we just said a lot of PYP terms. We said things like transdisciplinary, inquiry-based, concept-driven. If you would like a deeper dive and a more of an experience of what that's like, please join us on September 4th. If you joined us last year, you would have known that it was not like this. I'm not going to stand here and talk to you. You're going to be active in groups, at tables, collaborating, showing your learning, to try to get a bit more experience of what your children do at school, but also to build your own understanding of the program.
Questions?
Oh, and it's time for questions.
Any questions that you have for the whole group? None.
Wow.
You've done an amazing job.
Yeah.
I'd just like to reiterate what Patrick said. All the teachers are great, especially the grade 4 teachers. But we really care about your kids. We want to have a great relationship with kids and with you. And please don't be afraid or be backwards in coming forward to talk to us, to send us messages. We want to help you and your families and your children. I'm so sorry, but I have to go and teach my class right now.
So the teachers do have to run because we're going to
Thank you all so much. I look forward to seeing you.